back to the Co-OpCast. We're here with you again this week, here with Ryan, my brother-in-law. We're here to talk about a game that's pretty near and dear to us, except for Sawyer here. It's Old School Runescape, if any of you guys have heard it before. I know Colin's been in it recently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of us are in it right now, but we always go off and on it. You never really
If you
quit.
think you don't know it, you just look up Sea Shanty 2 on YouTube, and I guarantee you know this game.
Yeah,
It's like the nerd anthem now.
right. I've heard it on a lot of videos that have nothing to do with RuneScape. So yeah, if you've never heard of it, just look it up. But yeah, I'm here with my brother-in-law, Ryan. He's here with us. He's a big lover of Old School RuneScape, not RuneScape 3 or any other version. Old School RuneScape is where it's at. And we're here to just talk about RuneScape today. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Never been better. Talking about the greatest game ever made.
And I can agree with you about that. There's so many reasons why I would agree that it's the greatest game ever made. And I'm sure, Sawyer, you would think it's ridiculous that we say that.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It's funny, too, considering that this game is played on the most high-powered PCs imaginable to the absolute pieces of crap that they play in Venezuela to mobile phones.
Yeah.
And it's still the greatest game ever.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, it doesn't need to be optimized at all, but it can be optimized to make the game like quicker and better and everything like that. But you don't have to. Like, it's kind of ridiculous the range of what you can play this game on.
Right. It's pretty much available to anyone now, especially now that it's on mobile. I know some of you guys don't really even touch mobile, but I played mobile a lot in the past year and a half, ever since it was released. It's just because it's so easy for me to play it on the tractor, since I work on the farm. But
I can't, man. My fingers are too fat.
Is RuneScape mobile? Is it a viable option, or can you notice it's a big drop off?
it just depends on what you want to do.
That's a loaded question on that one, because that starts with what even is RuneScape, and it's like RuneScape. There is so much crap to do. It's unbelievable. Like the amount of content in that game that exists in that game is, you will spend more time getting to the max level, which is 99 for every skill. It's never changed. It's 99. You will spend more hours getting to level 99 on a single skill than you will ever spend in any other game.
Yeah. And isn't there like 27 skills?
It's like 23 skills, I think.
Right. And every skill has something for it in the game. It's not just a waste of time. Everything that you do in RuneScape basically is rewarded in some way. And so, I don't know, how would you guys explain RuneScape in just a few sentences?
I want to hear what Ryan has to say, because I feel like he has the best description of what RuneScape is as a whole.
Oh my gosh. RuneScape can best be described by looking at the people who play RuneScape. And it's one of those things. It's like I got really into this board game in Iowa, and it was like one of those board games where you have like miniature figurine things that like fight. It was like a miniature war game, not like hardcore like a Warhammer or something like that. It was like 10, you had like 10 or 8 figurines, and it's like a war game. And at one time, I'm like in the middle of this game, and I look up, and every single person is at least 50 years old. Like, you could smell them from 3 miles away, and like you for sure know they've never had sex in their life. And you're just like, really, this is the company that I'm in right now? Like, dude, I threw away all of my pieces. I was like, I cannot be associated with these people. So RuneScape, you have people that you would literally imagine who play video games at home in their basement, still at home with their mom, that are just like total dweebs. And then the other crew is like, they get way too high to function on another game like Counter-Strike or something. Like, they're way too high to do a high-functioning game. That's the people that play RuneScape. This game is like, you literally, a portion of it, you're skilling, like wood cutting. You literally click a tree. That's it. You're done. You clicked the tree, and you're chopping until the tree runs out after 2 minutes. and then you click again the next tree. And that's the skill the whole time, like 120 hours to get max level that you will just click a tree. So on mobile, that's the kind of crap that gets done on mobile. You know what I mean? It's the I'm literally sitting here not able to do much, and I got fat fingers. I got that problem too. So it's like, but I can click a tree. Like that's fat finger proof. That's what they do.
Right. Yeah, you could do things like cutting your trees with wood cutting, but then there's just so many more intricate things to do on RuneScape as well. So basically, RuneScape is an MMORPG. You guys have all heard of World of Warcraft, and it ranges from cutting trees to taking down the biggest bosses in the game, and they all have requirements. Everything has a requirement, basically, where you have to reach a certain level and certain skills. You have to solve. You have to do different quests that will unlock other quests that will unlock other skills. You need certain equipment, all kinds of things, and you basically never run out of things to do. You would say that you put in all this time, like cutting the trees for 120 hours, but it has meaning to it, and you just get that dopamine rush when you finally get that goal, and you finally can move on to the next thing you want to do. And it really is the greatest game ever made, even if you're just cutting trees at one point in the game. It could be really tedious, but it's such an experience you really can't get anywhere else. And there's way more reasons for that than just cutting trees.
There's something soothing about that people like. You know what I mean? Like if you think about what's the number one, if you think about apps on your phone like that, I think everyone can agree that that's becoming, if not already, the biggest market in gaming is creating apps with those microtransactions, stuff like that. If you had to guess who the number one market is that apps will go for, who would you guess is their demographic they're trying to hit? It's their most successful demographic where they get the most money from.
The obvious answer would be like kids, but I doubt that. I think it's like middle-aged men, like people
It's middle-aged women.
Women, okay.
45 to 55-year-old women is the biggest demographic for them to hit with apps. And if you literally take time to think about the games they play, it's like Candy Crush?
Candy Crush.
Like the most stupid games that you're literally just. I mean, have you played that game? It's so mindless. It's you're basically clicking a tree. It's the same thing. There's something about mindless tasks that are timeless and pure that you just love to do, and you're guaranteed to be successful at it, and you have an objective measure of that little number that tells you got better. You know, like you can't freaking practice math every day and like objectively measure how you got better. It's even that should be more objective. You know, it's like, did I get better at writing this essay in school? It's demotivating.
Right.
But RuneScape, you can objectively track these stupid little mindless tasks.
Yep.
Like exactly what you're saying, Ryan. My wife plays this game called Toon Blast, and if you guys have seen
I've played it.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
He's the one that does the ads for him.
Oh yeah.
He just like he catches people and like, here, come play this app, and it is straight up mindless, like, but it makes you feel good because you completed something, and then you complete the next one, and then she's on like a level 1,000 or something ridiculous. And I could see how some people would get sucked in. Like, I need to play this now. I need to buy it. I need to buy more plays or buy more things that'll help me in the game so I can get further and further. It just makes sense. Like, I don't know. But going back to RuneScape, I think the reason why I played it, and like I'm not as high a level as Carter and Ryan are, but like I always pick it up for probably about 2 to 3 months at a time. And it's probably once every year or 2 years. Like it's not a game that I'll play all the time. So I'm not on the same spectrum as Carter and Ryan, thinking it's the best game ever made. I'm up there. It's one of the greats. Like it's one that I'll always turn back to. And the reason I like to play it is for that dopamine rush, is for like being able to set a goal. There's not many games where you can set the goal and then go achieve it. Like it's, how do I want to word it? Like I'm the headmaster of the game. I'm the one that's doing what I want to do. Whereas in like say Skyrim, which is close. Like it's close to an open world game like RuneScape, but it still has kind of a linear path of like, okay, I want to go do these quests and follow this quest line, which you can do in RuneScape too. But what I'm saying though is usually I set goals of like, I want to hit 75 mining today because like that's what I want to do. So I don't know. That's why I've always played it.
And why I love it so much is that when you get that 75 mining, it sticks with you for the rest of the game, and you can use that skill level to unlock so many other things. RuneScape has been the game where I have been the most overwhelmed from any other game. When you reach that mid-level, you get to that point where your mind is flooded with so many different things you could go to, where you have to just pick a path, or else you're just too overwhelmed, at least for me. And there's even quests where I've had to print out pages upon pages of requirements that I need to do before I can even finish that quest, which when in the meantime, while I'm doing those requirements, I find myself branching off doing another thing instead, and then coming back for that quest. So it's extremely overwhelming for me, but in such a good way. Whereas I get on and I get to the point where there's always something that I can get done and feel good about it, which gives me that dopamine rush, which is kind of a meme, I guess, is that dopamine rush, which it really is. You really do feel good about accomplishing so many different things that the game offers to you.
Well, it kind of hits one of those things that is becoming more popular in games now. Like if you think about one of like the classic franchises in history of like games where like you can get a pretty universal like, oh yeah, we love that. Like one example would be Legend of Zelda. Everyone's like, hell yeah, like Ocarina of Time or something, whatever their game is. They usually people have a really good experience with Legend of Zelda. That game was always a very linear path. You do this. There's no deviating from that. You can't skip ahead. But now you think about the most recent one they came out with. What was it? Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, Breath of the
Wild. From the moment, I didn't really like it too much, so I didn't play it a whole ton, so I could be wrong. But from what I remember when I played that game, the entire game is unlocked immediately for you. You just can't do all of it yet because you haven't prepared yourself with either collecting weapons or doing something, but you are not restricted or barred from any part of the game really. Little small things maybe, but it's free world, free roam, and those kinds of games have really taken over as becoming more popular, and that's kind of what RuneScape is every single you're not barred from anything, you're just not prepared for it yet. And so you need to get some sort of skill or some sort of weapon or some sort of armor or some sort of requirement done to prep you for that.
Right. And I think what made RuneScape so successful, I mean, we're talking about old school RuneScape here. We're talking about the OG RuneScape. And that came out, what year? We're talking about 2007, even before that.
Way before that.
And Breath of the Wild came out 10 years after.
2007, RuneScape 2 came out.
Right. The old school RuneScape. I think old school RuneScape is 2006.
Old school RuneScape was 2012 or 13.
Yeah. So if you think about old school RuneScape, RuneScape in its prime, at that year, we're talking about a game that's still relevant to today. And if you think about how games were back then, we're talking about Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and then you have RuneScape as well. You just can imagine the reasons why it was so successful. And you think about the freedom that you get in that game, where you can do whatever you want that the game offers for you, and getting past those requirements as well. I just feel like that is why it just blew up so fast at its day and age, because I don't think anything existed like it in the time. I feel like it is different from World of Warcraft, wouldn't you say? Because World of Warcraft also existed at that time, but I don't know.
World of Warcraft, the biggest difference there is the fact that if you log, like you said earlier, who said it, that they log on every couple of years or something?
Me.
Who said, yeah. If you did that with World of Warcraft, if you logged on now and you hadn't played in even just like 4 months, you might as well be starting from the beginning. Like all your gear is outdated. You just have to start over. But RuneScape, you could go like 2 years having not logged in. Log back in and literally nothing changed.
literally, like, I think the only thing that changed from 2017 to 2019, the last time I picked it up, or 2020, I think it was the last time I picked it up. I think the only thing that changed was like 6 or 7 new quests, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And
I-
there are updates every week, like bug fixes and little tiny content things that they'll release, but they don't change the game to where you can't jump back in right away. You can look up the things that they do because it is constantly updating. It is a living game that's constantly changing. But at the same time, I do agree that it is very easy to just jump right back in. That's why I feel like so many people take those breaks and just come right back. They don't feel like they can't just get right back into the game.
One, like, I just want to attest to like how good of a game it is, because like someone like me that only plays like 2 to 3 months out of a year, probably, it's so good that I still even like keep up with the updates here and there. Like, I just
Mhm.
heard that there's a new like fish boss coming out for a fishing, like
Oh, it's sweet.
to be able to upgrade your fishing while not mindlessly just sitting there and clicking on a fishing spot. So I don't know.
Yeah, they keep adding some big patches here and there. I mean, but the thing that's kind of unique about it too is not only do your skills not reset, but even like your weapons and your gear don't reset. Like they released the very first raid to Old School in 2017, and there's a lot of weapons and armor that you use from it still to this day are the best weapons to use. One of them is called the Twisted Bow, and it's the best bow you can use in the game still 4 years later, and it has maintained its value in the game this entire time, completely steady. It's gone up and down a little bit, but it stayed the same. And this thing, if you tried to buy it, which it's you're not allowed to buy stuff with money, but of course, gold selling factories exist out there. It holds a value of like $1,600, and it's still to this day, 4 years later, still worth the same amount. I mean, it's to the point where it's really amazing. Like you think of World of Warcraft, if you had like 100 gold when it first came out, you were freaking rich. But like now, it's like people have millions, and it's like nothing. But in RuneScape, they made an economy that's so freaking stable. It's more stable than an actual country. The currency in RuneScape is more stable. The economy they've created is more stable than the economy in Venezuela. That's how insane it is. Like they've literally created a virtual country. Like you can trade these items on the Grand Exchange and people make millions just exchanging these items like stocks.
Mm-hmm.
And because these prices just don't change. And new items come out, but they don't replace the old items. They just add unique niches to them. And it's honestly, these are the part of the reasons why I think it's the greatest game ever made. Not necessarily maybe because it might be the most fun or this or that, but the things that they've done are just like so extremely unique and mind-boggling how they were able to develop that.
Mm-hmm. You could literally look up a specific item on Google, and it'll show you all the information you need to know about its price, how it's changed, just like a normal stock. And you literally use that information to make money in the game. You don't even need to go and kill monsters and grab the loot that they drop. You can sit at the Grand Exchange, which is like the hub of the world, and just trade all these kinds of items and make money off of it because it is a living and breathing economy, which is amazing. And it still blows my mind even today that it's constantly changing and just little by little, up and down. Like you can decide when you want to buy a certain item depending on its price at the time. You can look it up, get online and grab it before it goes back up. And that's just one big reason why I love it. It just adds so much life to the game.
It makes it feel like a real world, which it basically is on the internet.
Yeah.
And like to go along with the economy thing that you guys are talking about, I've seen videos that like people take one gold piece and they're like, I'm just gonna sit at the Grand Exchange at like level 5 and try to make this into 1,000,000 gold just because I'm bored and don't have anything better to do. Like it's ridiculous.
They do it. It's like that game you play when you're a kid, when you like start off at the paperclip and you got to trade it up. Next thing you know, you're coming out with Daniel Copperfield's magical legumes.
So Sawyer, let's move it over to you. You've played RuneScape, I don't know how many years ago, 10 years ago?
Yeah,
A long time ago. back when there wasn't two different versions of the game. You played free to play before. What are your thoughts about it from your experience? I know you have a very limited experience to it.
Yeah, very limited. So all I did was I would kill cows in that first area. You come to life. And then, so I'd kill things. I'd maybe fish a little bit, cut down trees in that same area. And then I'd go up to the Grand Exchange because it's not that far. And then that's literally, I just tried to make my defense and attack stronger.
Right.
And like, to my mind, when I look around on the map, I wouldn't know what to do. It was like I can just try to kill things, become stronger. Like that's all that my mind could wrap its. I could only wrap my head around making those skills stronger. My woodcutting, fishing, and then cooking. I remember that mission. Yeah, I don't know. To me, on free to play, I just didn't know what to do, so I stopped.
Yeah.
I think it's partly because we were so young. Because like I remember doing the same exact thing. Like I have no clue what I'm doing, so I'm gonna go kill cows for 4 hours because I have
Yeah,
like I said, I have nothing better to do in my life because I'm 12 and I don't have anything else to play on. So I'm just gonna sit on the family computer and kill cows, which I think is the large portion of it. And I'm surprised that I got back into it, and I'd probably have to give a lot of credit to Carter because he's the one that actually went into a membership and like got me back into it to actually like go into membership. But Carter, do you want to explain to the viewers like what's the difference between free to play and membership?
Right. So I played free to play when I was a kid as well. I never dived into the membership until I was older, but I still loved RuneScape for what it was as a free to play. So when I finally decided to become a member because of Ryan here, it blew my mind how much content there really was. Because he was convincing me to play RuneScape, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll play for a couple of days, see where it goes. And everything that just popped off one after another after getting the membership, I realized that free to play was just such a small sliver to what RuneScape really is. And even hours and hours and hours later, I was still finding new things that I didn't even know existed, even after researching so many things up on the Wikipedia pages. And I just kept learning more and more. And I finally was talking to you, Colin, about how great membership was and how it just is not the same game from our childhood. And I don't know about you, Ryan, if you played membership, back when we were kids.
I did.
You did. So it was a
played a
totally different experience from you and from us. So it blew my mind. And I didn't have, like, the nostalgia was there at the same time, which is also awesome because I have that nostalgia of playing as a kid, but also it's just a completely new game at the same time.
Well, and I wish when I was younger I had somebody that knew what they were doing on membership because I did have one friend that did play membership back in the day, but literally all he was like, he loved mining. Like, I don't understand 12-year-old brains, but we love clicking on rocks, I guess. And he did the Shiloh Village quest, and he's like, dude, I'm just mining gems. I'm going to be so rich in like 2 weeks. And I was like, now thinking of that, I was like, man, you could have made so much more money somewhere else. Like, I don't know. So like, I wish somebody introduced me better to membership when I was younger so that I could have had an earlier like introduction to it to be able to get more into it. But I'm glad I have it now so then I can like experience it for the first time. Like I have a game right now that I can experience for the first time and I can come back to it every single year and I know where it is. I don't have to like go out and look for it and hope that the game is good.
The ceiling is so tall on that game too. That's the other crazy thing about it. Is like it goes from as simple as like clicking, even in combat, you go from starting like you can just kill a cow, and then you finally kind of start getting into like some bosses where you have to stand in certain spots. And then they start adding in, okay, now you have to like use these little prayers that protect you. And you have to be clicking on the right one, otherwise you die. And then they make it where now you can't stand in certain spots, and you have to click the right prayer. And you have to be using the right weapon that you have to switch between gears, between using a bow, using a sword, or using magic. And then you have to be, doing all of those.
I agree with Ryan that it is one of the greatest games ever made.
No. The greatest game.
It is the greatest
That's my
game.
claim.
It is timeless.
Tell me a game that's better.
I can't imagine how many more years this game could live on. There are people that will play it till the day it dies. And I just want to convince anyone who's never played it before, even you, Sawyer, to give it a try. Because I feel like it's made for anyone's playstyle. Just like you said, Ryan, there's 4-year-old monkeys that get off clicking on rocks, and there's all kinds of quests.
Get the
Okay.
rocks off, clicking on rocks.
Now I'm picturing 4-year-old monkeys getting off, Carter.
Oh, sorry. But I want to talk about the quests a little bit. I feel like compared to a game like World of Warcraft, the quests on RuneScape, if you take the time to read the dialogue and really follow the story and the lore, it's there for you if you're into that kind of stuff. For me, I just skip all the dialogue and get through the quests just so I can complete them, but I can see what's going on, sort of, and it's really good. There's a lot of content they have within the quests, and there's dozens and dozens of quests. I can't even say the number there are. There's over 100. I don't know, but there's a lot. And every time you complete a certain segment of the game, let's say you do all the quests in the game, you receive a cape for it. Just like the cape you get for beating the Inferno. It's a different cape showing that you achieved that section of the game. Just like any skill you get 99 in, you get a cape for that as well to kind of show off to everyone else in the game that you achieved this super long grind.
There's 130.
They're also useful too.
Yeah.
The capes are useful. Like they give you a sweet teleport or perk or something. How many?
139.
139.
Gosh.
Yeah, I had the quest cape a couple months ago, but a couple quests came out since then, and I haven't been playing. But that's the thing about RuneScape is you take breaks, but then things come out, and it drives you to just get back into it. And it's really not that hard to jump back in because I'm really intrigued by the quests. So that's probably one of the things I'd do right away.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like it's literally no matter where you're at, there's something else to go achieve. Like if you're maxed out, like on your stats and everything like that, if you've done all the quests, if you've done the Inferno, if you're that top 0.1%, there's still like other hunts you can do. Like there's people that try to get every like armor, all the pets are like all the armor pieces from different like
the collection log.
Yeah,
that's what it's called. Yeah, the collection log.
That's what it's called.
Collection log, and they only released it just not too long ago. Well, I guess it's probably been a couple years now, but
like there's always a goal for an account, no matter what, because there's
there's other play styles. There's 2 other alternate play styles you can do. The original way is the one thing unique to the game is you can buy anything in the game, other than
that's tradable.
That's tradable, like items. I'm talking. Any weapons up for grabs. It's not like some other games where you have to go and kill the boss and the drop's in your name. You can buy anything in the game. But there's a mode called Iron Man where you can't trade with anyone else. It's all on your own. And then there's a mode that's hardcore Iron Man where you can't even die or you lose or you're done. And that's produced a lot of content right there.
Yeah.
And they're no mercy too. They don't give a crap. Like you disconnect at the boss, you're dead, and they do not give it back.
Yeah, that's always intrigued me, but I've never. You have
to be a whole new level of Dirty Basement kid to do that.
Iron Man's never intrigued me because of that. Like I do so much at the Grand Exchange. Like I don't even know where I'd begin. Like
insane.
Yeah. That's the thing that intrigues me most about the game is the economy, and if I can't really participate in the Grand Exchange, that's really not my play style.
So, I want to ask Sawyer a question. What do you think it would take for you to make an account and play with us in like a month's time?
Dude, that was like some missionary stuff right there. Dude, will you commit to being baptized in the Church of RuneScape of old school days?
That's exactly what we're asking you, Sawyer.
What do you mean? What will it take?
Like,
Like,
Do you think you'd ever play a game like RuneScape just by looking at it or by talking about it with us? Because I feel like some people, I don't want to word it like make it sound harsh, but some people like you, or some people that care about other game types, which is not bad. Whenever they see or hear about it, just think of like, look at these nerds just clicking away. And I sometimes think that too. Like after I'm done with that 3-month spurt of playing, I'm just like, man, I feel like I kind of wasted my life playing RuneScape. But it always brings me back. Like I
We've all
don't
been there, brother.
exactly. But like I feel like some people that are outside of RuneScape and outside of this game just already see that portion of it where it's like, I don't want to spend 4 months of my life grinding for something and then get sick of the grind. So I'm just wondering, like, what would it take for somebody like you, or what would it take you to jump into the game and give it a try?
honestly, if we were to make content, is the only way I'd probably do it. Is that we can all do it together and make a video or something. It doesn't. I have nothing against RuneScape, and I don't think you guys are weird for your thoughts or like. I have no problem with it. It's just not really like when I watch it, I have zero interest in trying to get my perks up or like making myself stronger. If that makes sense. I like short spurts of like competitive games, or it just doesn't really fit what I like to do with games.
Because
Yeah.
knowing you, I know you like the high octane, go hard, like competitive games.
Yeah.
And I feel like gamers like that, it's hard for them to get into RuneScape. So what do you guys think, Carter and Ryan? What do you guys think those high octane, very competitive gamers, what does it RuneScape have to offer them?
That's a good question.
Sand Casino.
I know what that is.
Just kidding.
Honestly, I would say not much. If you're getting on RuneScape, you're committing to the grind. It takes a personality type, and I think that's why it dug its claws so deep into me, is because I love the feeling of efficiency. I love the feeling of progress. I love a game like, I played the Call of Duty Modern Warfare all the time in high school. Like when that game came out, that game was the shit. Like everyone played that game. Like when you dropped the nuke on everyone, dude, you were pumped out of your mind. You were getting chicks from that. That's how hard. That's how good it was. No, not really. You weren't.
No.
But so RuneScape, honestly, it's really not the high octane, short, quick burst. But the difference there is usually the people that play those types of games, and I've seen a lot on Twitch personalities and stuff. They'll play their main game that they love, whatever it is, Fortnite, I don't know, whatever it is. They'll usually play RuneScape on the side because it's basically, I mean, if you ever find yourself playing one of those apps, if you play any app on your phone, a game of any kind, I would tell you right now, stop playing that game and start playing RuneScape on your phone and start doing some, because the progress you make will last. It's not something, I mean, it's all retarded. Video games are retarded. You don't get, no hard R words on the podcast.
We'll believe them.
All video games are just absolutely worthless and a waste of time. I don't think anyone's going to argue against that. But there's something to RuneScape where it's the feeling of progress that unlocks so much more able to do, and it's just something to it that's just magical. That was a little bit of rambling, but
No, I'm totally.
that's what I would tell for the high octane people. I would tell you, no, it's not going to replace that game or give you that feeling. That's a totally different thing. Not for you, but I would counter that with, I guarantee you every single one of those people play something mindless on their phone. And if that's the case, then I would download RuneScape on your phone and try doing some mindless stuff on that. Because it is really fun.
Yeah, there's been times where I'm playing a game like Valorant or Call of Duty or whatever, and I would be having RuneScape open either on the side or on my phone, just doing something on the side that I'm able to do, every couple minutes, just so I can have that XP gain while I'm doing something else. And it just feels good taking that with you throughout every day, every month, even when you take a 2-year break like Colin does. And you take it back with you, you feel good. I think the ladder that you climb in that game is where a lot of the fans come from, is that progress that you make. And the progress goes all over the place. You level up one skill in one level, you never know, it could unlock a dozen other things just by leveling one thing up or getting one quest done. And it's like reading a book. You get to the end of the book, you want to keep getting one other page turned, and every day you could turn a couple pages, and after a year's worth you look back at all the progress you've made and all the things that you've done and everything. It's like a story. It's like a campaign mission, and it's something that you can't really get from playing Call of Duty every day for a year. And it doesn't replace those kind of games. You can play it as well because it's just such a different game. And it shouldn't really take away any other game that you play. Something that you can add to the games that you play. It's more of a hobby.
Honestly, it's a hobby.
It's not like a game that you get on to play. It's a hobby.
And I think that might be the reason why I only go 2 to 3 month spurts, because when I play it like it's a game. Like that's the game I'm playing at that time. Because I have such a hard time playing it on mobile, and I have such a hard time not sitting. Like I think it's part nostalgia too from when I was younger, getting on the desktop and playing it on the computer. It's really hard for me not to play it in that setting because that's what like feels the best to me. So I'm wondering if that's the reason I only take like 2-month bursts when I play the game, because something new will come out or my friends will be playing something else. And I'm just like, well, I guess RuneScape's to the side again. Like, I'm ready to play this again. I don't know. Going with what Ryan said, though, just to switch back to what he was saying, I know one Twitch streamer, and that Sawyer you probably know. Do you know Tim the Tatman? Yeah. He doesn't play RuneScape. Like, I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. He plays World of Warcraft, which is a lot like RuneScape, but it's MMORPG. But we've said kind of some of the differences earlier. But he usually, like, sometimes he'll be playing Warzone on his PC, and then like on his other monitor to the side, he'll be playing World of Warcraft, like while he's waiting to be rezzed or things like that. And it just goes to show that like everybody does it. Like, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but I just wanted to bring up an example. I know Tim the Tatman's done that before.
Makes sense. I think everyone has their, like we've been saying, their peaceful games. For me, it's I'm either playing a competitive game or I'm playing Madden or Stardew Valley. And since I already have my 2 games that I switch to, because I like short bursts, like I already said, and I'll play 5 games in one night. Like I'll play a couple matches of Overwatch, I'll play Valorant, I'll play Madden, Stardew. Like I like to switch it up. And since I have those games already, I don't see myself ever, doing RuneScape. But what you guys say, whenever you guys talk about it, I think it's interesting what the concept is and the possibilities of it. But yeah.
And I think about starting that game too, and it's overwhelming as shit. Like, oh my gosh. Like that's partly why I'd probably never make one of those Ironmans or hardcore Ironmans. I think me and Carter did it for a little bit. And it's just like, it's crazy how you get in your mind how you have to do something. Like you just get it so in your mind, like, okay, I'd have to go do that. And I almost found myself like starting to sacrifice like real life shit. So that's like, okay, if I just like 30 more minutes, I just like get this done, and then I'll be able to like this. It's like I started scheduling like my days out around RuneScape. This was that last time when I was like going so hard with it, and as soon as that happened, that's when I quit actually for a little, because I'm like, this is getting out of control. This is crazy. It's funny how games can do that too, though.
Mhm.
It doesn't even matter what the game is. Maybe it's like a rank on. I don't know if they rank you in Valorant, but
Yeah,
I assume they do.
So I have a quick question. When do you guys think the last time you guys were in a peak, in your highest peak of playing RuneScape? And then on top of that, do you guys plan on having periods of time in the future where you will get into RuneScape again throughout your lives?
For me, I last played, I don't know, 6 months ago, and I'm actually planning to start playing it again after talking with Ryan and you guys. It's something I'm actually looking forward to, because there's always something new to look forward to if you're taking a break, but there's also things that you were planning on doing in the first place before you even stopped playing. So, yeah, I'll always go back and forth, I feel like, for a long time, whenever I have the time.
I got one question to add on top of it. When you do go back on, what's your next goal, Carter?
I really want to work on my diaries. So in the game, you have these different diaries for each city, and there's different levels for each diary. There's what is it? Is it beginner?
Easy, medium, hard, and elite.
Right. Easy, medium, hard. Okay. And obviously, the easy diaries are easy to accomplish, and it just gets harder and harder. And the more you accomplish within each diary, the more content you can unlock and the quality of life improvements and tools and things like that help you make money and things like that. So I don't have a lot of those done, so that's something I want to focus on. And it's really fun to do because one of the requirements of the diary could be to achieve a certain level so that you can literally just go to a garden and pluck a vegetable out of the garden or whatever, or cut a certain type of tree, and you achieve that part of the diary. And once you get all the pieces done of a certain difficulty, you get like so many rewards for that, and it really helps you play the game without pulling your hair out. There's things that make the game a lot easier to play.
Yeah, more efficient.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'd have to say my last time, because I hopped on right after your last slump, so I'd have to say like 4 or 5 months ago, because yours was like 6 or 7 months ago. I'd probably say my last time playing was like 4 or 5 months ago, because I was asking you questions and you weren't really getting on at that time. And with all this talk, I might try it again soon. I don't know. I need to finish the semester first, so it'll be a couple weeks. Yeah. And then my next goal, if I did, would be the same goal I've had the last like 2 times I've jumped back into it, which is finishing the recipe for disaster class. Like, still haven't done it.
And finishing that quest feels so good because that probably has the most requirements out of any quest.
Mm-hmm. I still need like 3 more quests, and then I think I'm ready to hit it, man.
Nice.
You unlock one of the best gloves in the game, nearly the best gloves.
What about you, Ryan?
Me, I'm in the middle of it. I never quit, baby. I can't stop, won't stop. I'm just kidding. No, I actually started playing again like 2 weeks ago because I have a huge boards exam on Tuesday to get licensed as an orthodontist, and I find myself so much more able to focus on studying when I have like multiple things going on. Like the ADD in me. So if I'm like every now and then occasionally clicking on something, I feel like I have to extra hone in on studying. So I started playing again because of that. And then I ended up not studying at all and just playing all the time. But no, I'm not kidding. My goal on that game is right now I'm trying to just kill all the bosses to get on the high scores for every single boss. I'm pretty late in the game. There's honestly not much more else for me to do other than the bosses, which is not saying that's not a lot, but
Are all your abilities 99?
no,
Skills?
no. But I have I am 1 skill away from having all of them be at least level 80.
Oh, nice.
Which is really
Honestly, I'm 1 skill away from having them almost all be at 85, which is pretty high. I have a lot of the elite diaries done. My account's pretty far progressed. There's not many, I guess, to say by maxing out the skills, the reward for the time is really not that great. There's really not many more perks for me to unlock, like Carter is talking about. They're pretty much all unlocked, the ones that I need to do whatever I want.
Okay, well, before we wrap things up, I just have one more question for Ryan. I just want to know if anyone's listening right now who's maybe played RuneScape in the past or who's never heard of it and is maybe Googling it right now as we go through this episode. Ryan, what do you have to say to anyone who's on the fence of whether they should get into it or not?
It's like anything else. You just have to start and don't be overwhelmed at the beginning, because even having played it for so long, you can almost find yourself getting overwhelmed by how much stuff there is available to you. It's almost like you get choice paralysis because you just you can't decide. It's like when you stick a 2-year-old that's in the middle of Chuck E. Cheese with a sack full of coins. You're like, I don't know what to do. This is like too crazy. Just start and just enjoy the experience. Kill some cows if you feel like killing some cows. Do whatever. Don't set any goals. Just do whatever you want to do. Have fun. If you really do want a recommendation of what I say to start, is I would say start. Just do a couple of quests. The ones that are available on free to play are all real simple. It's all real simple things to do. Give free to play a try. If you think, wow, this game's really easy and stupid, you're so wrong. You're playing the free to play stuff. You're playing the basic stuff that they created almost 20 years ago. It's the same quest that they played almost 20 years ago. So they're not complicated. They're not hard. It's just to get you going. It's just something to do. It's just something to do, and I guarantee you'll love it more than like Clash of Clans or I don't know whatever stupid app you play. Play this stupid app. It's way more fun. It's way more rewarding. It's way more in depth. There's so much to it. You could play it on your phone, and then if you decide you want to play it a little more seriously and kill some hardcore bosses or do something crazy, you can. And then in the meantime, you're kind of chilling playing it. If you need someone to play with, check out the crew on. I can't remember what your name is. Check out the crew on Co-OpCast.
Yeah, I really like my analogy earlier of how it's like a book. Just turn a couple pages whenever you can, and you'll love the progress that you make. And if you're worried that you're missing out on content by picking a route that you're taking, you're eventually going to have to pull back and finish those requirements if you're wanting to accomplish something. You'll eventually always turn back and eventually get so much done, even if you take a certain pathway right at the beginning. It's always going to be there for you to do, and that's why I love it.
With that being said, thanks guys for watching. Like always, hit up our social medias, especially Discord. We do interact with you guys every single week, or at least we try to with the question of the week. With that being said, thanks for watching. Love you guys. Deuces.
Mwah.